All right. Welcome to Status Cool Live featuring me, Marcus Ely. I am filling in. If you guys like my content, I believe right here. That is my name. That's my Twitter handle. You can find me there. I like to talk trash on Twitter. But yeah, we're really close to 50,000 subscribers. Thank you guys. Thank you. Smash that like button. Share the live stream. YouTube suppression is real. It is very real. And we really appreciate y'all coming up on 50,000 subscribers. I just want to take time to thank every one of our patrons, our members, and everybody that just is a part of this community that really is about getting the mic to the people. So I really appreciate y'all. We're going to go ahead and start with our first story, but make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, share, become a member. We're going into Amy McGrath today. So the establishment Democrats have mounted a campaign against Mitch McConnell. We're going to beat them because we're establishment Democrats and we fight hard. Yeah. So, what do the establishment Democrats have to go against Mitch McConnell with? Let's take a look at Amy McGrath's big campaign rollout video.
I was 13 years old, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life. I sat at this table, and I wrote a letter to my senator, telling him I wanted to fly fighter jets in combat, to fight for my country, and that women should be able to do that. He never wrote back. I'm Amy McGrath, and I've often wondered, how many other people did Mitch McConnell never take the time to write back, or even think about? A second-generation steelworker who found out his mill is shutting down, leaving no jobs behind. A woman suffering from diabetes who fears losing her health care and coverage for her pre-existing condition. A coal miner forced to retire by black lung disease, who's looking for someone to offer more than words. A student who can only afford college as long as she can get her federal loans and has no idea how she'll pay off the debt. Everything that's wrong in Washington had to start someplace. How did it come to this? That even within our own families, we can't talk to each other about the leaders of our country anymore without anger and blame. Well, it started with this man who was elected a lifetime ago and who has, bit by bit, year by year, turned Washington into something we all despise, where dysfunction and chaos are political weapons, where budgets and healthcare and the Supreme Court are held hostage, a place where ideals go to die. I'm running for Senate because it shouldn't be like this. I learned as a daughter, a mom, a Marine, and a fighter pilot that the mission can never be forgotten, that protecting our democracy requires courage, that our freedoms are never assured, and the best way to lift someone up is a job. The challenge of today is inside each of us. How do we reconcile our belief in basic human decency with our anger at those who block progress at all costs? There is a path to resetting our country's moral compass, where each of us is heard, and we can become, once again, the moral and economic leader of a world in disarray. But to do that, we have to win this.
All right, so y'all saw the videos. She didn't say how she was going to accomplish anything, but she mentioned like the student loan debt, the Medicare for all. She didn't really mention Medicare for all. She mentioned health care, but like she touched on the general issues that Americans are concerned about and are polling really well for Democrats. So like, oh, okay, that's a half decent start. Didn't get into nan specific about it, but you know what? We'll take it. She's an establishment Democrat, right? Like, yeah, let's take that. Let's do that. But then if you go further into her campaign, on her campaign website, this is the only thing. This is it. This is the only thing that's there, as far as like policy or anything. And there is nothing about policy. Amy McGrath is a retired U.S. Marine Corps lieutenant, raised in Kentucky, is running for U.S. Senate to fix Washington and give Kentuckians back their voice. I'm sorry, you have to read it, and like, because it parodies itself. Amy was born the youngest of 3 children, blah, 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 school. When Amy was 13, she dreamed of becoming a fighter pilot. She wrote a letter to Mitch McConnell, and she never heard back. Oh, how terrible is Mitch McConnell. It's so horrible. Like, of all the horrible things, hold up, before we're gonna come back in a second. We'll come back and read that in a second, but of all the things, and she hit him in there, like, in her video as well, of all the things you could hit Mitch McConnell on, there is a very long list of things you could hit Mitch McConnell on. That list is long. This is what you're hitting him with? You wrote him a letter and you didn't write back, and then you eventually achieved it anyways? I mean, this is why y'all suck. This is why y'all suck. It's just like, it's a personal story. I get it. Does it matter a little bit? Does it make it's personable? But like, I don't care about personable. Most people don't care about personable. It's 2019. The most popular politician in the country doesn't even talk about his own story. And I'm talking about Bernie Sanders, of course. But like, he doesn't talk about his own story almost at all. So like, it's policy. That's where we at. It ain't 1999 no more. We can look up your history. We can look up all this information on you. Like, come on. So continuing on, she says, and this is just the best part to me. She talks about her husband being a registered Republican in the second to last paragraph, the little short sentence there. Amy lives in Georgetown, Kentucky with her husband, Eric, a retired Navy pilot and registered Republican. Like, they think that's a good thing. That's a good thing to them. Y'all are trash, dude. Like, that is the entirety of all of the writing on her website. Not one thing about policy. Not one thing about how you're going to help other than just beat Mitch McConnell. Now, sure, does beating Mitch McConnell go a long way? Yes. But not when you're not really doing anything. And, I mean, like, when you're not, like, if you beat Mitch McConnell, just beating him, sure, it helps. But there's, like, 30,000 Republicans behind him. Will they be as effective as Mitch McConnell? Who knows? But their strategy in its whole, in entirety, Republican strategy is block Democrats. All you gotta do is say no. That's Mitch McConnell's job. Say no. 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 He does not have a hard job. And especially when he's fighting against establishment Democrats that are like, oh, well, he said no. It's so hard. I have to work with the Republicans. Okay, here's the money for your concentration camps. Like, I'm sorry, that's just the most recent. I mean, y'all suck. Y'all are dumpster juice. Like, man. 0-16. Democrat, like, establishment Democrats, if politics was Madden, establishment Democrats would have had to pass the control 30 years ago because y'all been skunked. It's been 21 skunked. But anyways, so there's another thing came out. Let me give you a little background before I run to it. She was basically quoted in the newspaper saying that she would have approved Kavanaugh. She said in the newspaper she would have approved Kavanaugh, and she thinks that Dr. Blasey Ford's testimony was okay, or rather wasn't disqualifying. Word, son? So, this is on day one of her campaign. She says, I was asked earlier today, and this is in tweets she sent, I was asked earlier today about Judge Brett Kavanaugh, and I answered based upon his qualifications to be on the Supreme Court. But upon further reflection and further understanding of his record, I would have voted no. Later, she said, I know I disappointed many today with my initial answer on how I would have voted on Brett Kavanaugh. I will make mistakes and will always own up to them. The priority is defeating Mitch McConnell. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. People are dying. People are dying. You suck. Get out of the way. Y'all need to get out of the way. Like, serious. It's day one of your campaign. Get out of the way. These people are... It's hard to not call them controlled opposition. It's really hard not to. It's really hard not to call us that. Like, y'all must love Mitch McConnell because this is what you got up against him. Not only do you have no policy platform, you're literally running the same campaign that Hillary Clinton lost in 2016 with. Sure, she got a plurality of votes, but more people didn't vote than did vote in 2016. This is what you come up against Mitch McConnell with. And then you had a whole debate question about how are you going to get around Mitch McConnell and the Republicans, and maybe you could beat him. Maybe you could put somebody worth a crap in his primary. That's a thought. Just a thought there. Maybe you could try. Oh my God, like, this is what you come up against him with. And it's not like she's just anybody. This next part is coming from The Intercept here. And it says, I want you to pay attention to the top paragraph. Schumer leapt at the chance to recruit her, not because there were no other options. Matt Jones, the state's most popular sports talk radio host and outspoken liberal who jousted with Mitch McConnell on air, has been floating a possible run, and McConnell has been watching him warily as he scrambles the political calculus. Charles Booker and Attica Scott. So, like, yeah, like, the dude, there's other options. And Schumer recruited her. Leapt at the chance to recruit this person. This is who Chuck Schumer was like, that's who we're going to get to beat Mitch McConnell. And it gets worse. Because, like, he should have known. He should have known, nah, this ain't the play. Because this is what happened in her last race. She ran up against Andy Barr, outraised him by $3 million. $3.3 million. Outraised him. You outraised this man by $3.3 million and you still lost. And they're like, yeah, that's the person we need. She has the story of writing a letter to Mitch McConnell. And she was military. These people really live in another world. They live in another world. I have never been to Kentucky other than driving through, but if I was from Kentucky, I'd be insulted. I would be so insulted. Because this is what they think of y'all. They think y'all are dumb hicks that only, if you gotta say military and you gotta run to the right. That's what you gotta do. It's Kentucky. They're conservatives. Even the left, even the Democrats are there. You gotta move to the right. No, you don't. Most people do not vote. They don't vote. Most people don't vote. And this is what y'all coming up with. How about you give them a reason to vote? How about you run somebody that's one of them? How about you run somebody that's from Kentucky? How about you run somebody that's from one of these communities? Oh, no, you can't do that. I know what you know why you can't do that, because pretty much they'd eat the elites. Americans are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and their only options are people from this club. And the problem with people from this club is they're not regular people. They despise regular people. Their actions tell it to us at every turn. These people are just inept, not regular people, not everyday people. They go to places where the prices are ridiculous on purpose, so that way they don't have to mingle with the pores. I'm telling you, the political revolution is just going to be a cakewalk if enough people stand up. That's all you need, is enough people. You just need enough people. And this whole thing could be over with. Is it going to be, I guess cakewalk might be the wrong word. It'll be hard because they have money and they have resources. But we got people. Just like Ryan Grimm, who actually wrote that Intercept piece. His book is titled "We Got People," and it's based off of course, the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez quote. But yeah, establishment Democrats have, and she raised $2 million on day one. $2.5 million on day one. So she'll probably smash whatever incumbent they have, or whatever progressive challenger if they have a primary. Which I think that would be a good idea, but good luck. She already got $2.5 million. They just protected Mitch McConnell. So that's that. We're gonna go ahead and move on now to this video of Jordan Sheridan interviewing a Biden supporter. I'm gonna just let it play, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna let it play.
What's your name?
Evan Roman.
So I see you're with the Biden for president here. You got the hat.
Biden all the way.
Talk to me about why are you into Biden? Obviously he's been in politics a long time, and there's a lot of other candidates. What sets him apart for you?
Well, I think the fact that he has been in politics for a long time is a plus for me, because we've seen the consequences of what happens when you get an outsider. A lot of people for a long time have wanted an outsider. They got their wish, and I don't think the expectations have been met. I mean, I certainly didn't want an outsider. I wanted someone who knew what they're doing. And besides that, I think Biden recognizes that there is a lot of fear in this country from both sides of the political spectrum. I might live in New Jersey, but I'm feeling fear. Someone in West Virginia, a coal miner who might lose their health insurance from the Affordable Care Act being repealed, might feel fear. So we are all different, but we are all feeling one thing, and that is fear. And I think Biden recognizes that, and I think he wants to do something about it.
You mentioned that he's been in politics a lot, and because of that, he obviously has a long record. Mm-hmm. And one thing that people are very concerned about, particularly progressives, is his cozying up to Wall Street. Mm-hmm. He's been doing a lot of events with Wall Street. Obviously, since basically Occupy Wall Street, there's been animosity towards the 1% elite. Mm-hmm. He's basically I get alerts all the time. Another fundraiser. He told Wall Street executives at a fundraiser, your standard of living won't change. You don't find a contradiction when he's talking about the middle class and helping the middle class, but he's also telling Wall Street, like, you'll be fine under me, everything's good.
Well, I don't think you necessarily have to change the standard of living for Wall Street in order to improve the middle class. I don't think that's a problem. Sure, you can tax the rich more, but I mean, when you consider how much money they have, you could tax them at, I don't even know what percentage, but you could tax them at a certain percent, and it probably won't even change any part of their lifestyle. So maybe that's what Biden was referring to.
Well, it's not just the taxes. The federal government gives Wall Street banks a lot of subsidies and tax cuts and goodies. The other thing is, he's talked a lot about kind of making America again. That's kind of one of his mottos, but it doesn't, economically, Obamacare, there's still 27 million people uninsured, a lot more people underinsured.
Right.
You have over half the country now supports Medicare for all, but he says that wouldn't work. Why do you support Obamacare over a universal program like other countries?
I think Obamacare was a very good start. There were definitely some flaws with the Affordable Care Act. They probably did make some concessions to the insurance companies. I think we can agree with that. But I think that Obamacare, for me personally, and for a lot of other people, has saved us from going without insurance and getting the necessary doctor's visits or medications that some people may need. My philosophy is not to let perfect be the enemy of good, and I think that while a universal healthcare program sounds really good, I have yet to hear one candidate, with the exception of maybe Elizabeth Warren, give a detail as to how they will do that. For instance, when Bernie Sanders was on the debate stage and was asked, how will you implement this Medicare for All system, he said it's going to happen when the general public stands up to the health insurance companies, and to me that was unacceptable, because what are we hiring someone for president of the United States for if they're not going to do something about it? He basically said it's your problem. You're going to have to do that on your own.
No, he said his plan says middle class taxes will go up about 3 or 4%, but you save overall about $3,000 to $4,000.
That may be true, but I need details about that, and I feel that Elizabeth Warren.
Have you ever looked at his website?
I have looked at his website. I've heard the tax on Wall Street plan. I've heard that. I don't understand how he's going to. I just feel like there's not a lot of substance there. I want to hear more about how he's going to do it, how he's going to convince the Congress of raising taxes on middle-class citizens, because there are a lot of people on both sides of the political spectrum, Democrats and Republicans, who are against raising taxes.
Right, but what I'm asking you is
their constituents.
You're kind of, the corporate media kind of spins it that way. Oh, raising taxes on the middle class, but overall, like if what the taxes increases are right here on the left side. So let's say you pay an extra $2,000-3,000, but you save $6,000 to $7,000 overall. Your expenses are going down.
And listen, that was a deal breaker for a lot of people. People were saying that they weren't going to vote for Bernie Sanders should he become the nominee. My plan is to
What
vote.
was the deal breaker?
That he said he would raise taxes on middle class people.
But you understand what I'm saying.
That was not
his plan would actually decrease.
Well, it's going to decrease the amount of money that people pay towards health insurance. It might technically raise.
Oh, no. Overall, if you have health care in one bucket and taxes in the other,
your taxes might go up, but the amount that
your
you're paying
taxes
towards
are
your
going to
health
go
care.
up less than the amount you will save in health care. So
no, I get that.
Your overall costs go down.
And that was not a deal breaker for me. The problem is that I don't think that.
But why would that be a deal breaker if you're saving money overall?
It wasn't a deal breaker for me. That's what I said. It wasn't a deal breaker. It was a deal breaker for a lot of other people. I don't think he's going to get the votes in Congress to be able to. I don't think he's going to be able to convince Congress of that. A lot of Democrats have said that they are against raising taxes on middle-class citizens. Bernie doesn't seem to be the most persuasive person to me, so I'm not sure how he's going to convince Congress of that.
You don't think he's persuasive? He just got Jeff Bezos to raise the minimum wage. He's the richest man in the world.
Well, he's not very persuasive because when you look at his record in the Senate, you see that he hasn't gotten a whole lot done in the last 10 years. I think the three bills that he started proposing, I think it was 3, had to do with renaming post offices.
No,
I don't think that
that's
he's got.
incorrect.
How many was it then?
He actually, him and John McCain got the largest veterans health care bill passed.
And I give him credit for that, but he still hasn't done.
He also, in Obamacare, he actually was responsible, him and James Clyburn actually together got $9 billion for expanded community centers. He also just passed the first time ever passing the War Powers Act in American history. That was to stop U.S. involvement.
Well, all you have to do is
Arabia.
go on the GovTrack website and look at Bernie Sanders' record for the past 10 years, and you'll see that there's only been 3 bills that he's proposed. or around 3. 3 to 5 is what the number is.
I just named 3 for you that he's...
It's 3 to 5,
Right.
essentially, is what I'm saying.
Can
I
you
thought it was
name,
3.
Can you name the bills that Biden passed in the 90s and 00s?
Sure, the Violence Against Women Act was one of the things, I believe.
That was inside the crime bill, which many people
Which
are
I
criticizing.
supported, I wasn't alive back then, but I supported the crime bill. Yes, there were mistakes made with the crime bill, but I believe that the assault weapons ban, I believe that the community policing was good, I believe that
But let me ask you, and I'm not trying to be adversarial, I'm just trying to understand
course.
the Biden voter. So when you say there were some mistakes, you do understand that millions of young black men were put in jail for that, for nonviolent offenses.
most of
which
the people,
he has never apologized
Most
for.
of the people who were incarcerated for too long were incarcerated at the state level, and since 1973, you can disagree, but it's true.
But the crime bill...
But let me finish. Since 1973, the incarceration rate federally and statewide was going up by over 250%. The crime bill was a drop in the bucket, and there was a decrease in crime after the crime bill was passed. There were mistakes made. There might have been some flaws with people getting incarcerated for drug usage, but I think the vast majority of that bill was a very good thing.
Mm-hmm. You're aware with the state, you were mentioning most of it happened on the state level.
Mm-hmm.
A huge aspect of the crime bill was actually incentivizing states to create more prisons and jail more people. Mm-hmm. So when you say it was on the state level, that was because in the crime bill it incentivized.
I think it showed results, though, and I don't think that everyone.
But what were the results if you're jailing millions of black people for nonviolent offenses?
With progressivism, it's always they're always against the incarceration, and it's a blanket statement, which I don't believe. There were some people who did, in my opinion, need to be incarcerated, whether they were incarcerated.
Do you think black men should be in jail for life?
You're twisting my words, and if
you
you're
just
going to
said incarceration.
There were some people who needed to be incarcerated, and by the way, it wasn't just black men who were incarcerated, it was people of all races. Did it disproportionately affect one group? Possibly, but there were people who did commit crimes who I believe needed to pay for those crimes. I'm not saying that someone should be incarcerated simply because of their race, and I don't appreciate you taking my words out of context.
I'm not saying that at all. What I was saying is the majority of the people jailed under the crime bill were African Americans for nonviolent crimes, so cocaine, dealing, things like that. And part of that was, I don't think selling drugs is a violent crime.
I think selling drugs is a violent crime.
Oh, okay.
I think it is. It's like selling a gun to someone you know is suicidal. There's no such thing as responsible drug usage. There really isn't.
So 3 strikes, you agree with that? 3 strikes.
I think it was good for the times. I think maybe now it needs some reforming, but I think it needed to happen when it happened because we did see a decrease in murder. We did see a decrease in gun violence. Mm-hmm. The assault weapons ban was excellent. So I think that, yeah, the crime bill was good.
And last question. Obviously, this focus was foreign policy. So, President Obama with Biden obviously ended Iraq. We still have residual troops there, but he voted for the Iraq War. He obviously, as far as I know, hasn't said anything about us kind of engineering a coup in Venezuela. Obama did a lot of the droning, which has created a lot more animosity. What did you take out of this speech? What do you think his foreign policy is?
Well, I'm more of a domestic policy guy, but what I can say about the foreign policy is that I think that Iraq War probably was a mistake. I think the information that people were getting from the Bush administration was flawed, and I think a lot of it were lies, probably by Dick Cheney. I don't blame Biden for voting for the war in Iraq, but if someone were to say now that the war in Iraq wasn't a mistake, like, say, Jeb Bush in 2016, I think they're full of it.
Why are they full of it?
Because it was a mistake. I mean, there were no weapons of mass destruction there.
No, I know that, but I mean, there were people, not just Bernie, but some other people who kind of saw that. So you don't think there's anything to be said for having the right judgment, like in the situation?
Well, at the time, I think that the right judgment. I think when the President of the United States, because it's easy to sit here now in 2019 and say, oh, that was a mistake. I think back then, when the President of the United States, which has almost always been a respectable position until the guy who we have right now, I think people took the President seriously when they said we need to go into war. And I think that a lot of people were very concerned about the war on terror. I think people were shaken up from 9/11. And I think that Joe Biden, representing a coastal state, which is not too far from Philadelphia and New York, probably had a lot of concerns about that.
And if he became the nominee, who would be your pick for vice president?
Ooh, that's a good question. I like Amy Klobuchar.
So you're kind of in the middle of the road guy.
I'm a conservative Democrat. I think that Amy Klobuchar works very well. A lot of her Republican colleagues have said very good things about her, that she gets things done, that she's very reasonable.
I think a lot of progressives would argue with you, what's the point of getting things done if it's basically middle of the road stuff that doesn't really help the masses?
Well, I think I think the Obama administration did help the masses. I'm far better off because of the Obama administration today. A lot of progressives don't consider Obama progressive, yet 10 years ago Obama was considered progressive. So, things change.
Well, the income inequality that's really strangling this country kept on going up under Obama.
Yes, but the
he didn't jail any bankers after destroying the global...
He was trying to fix the economy. I mean, it's like your house is on fire. Would you rather the firefighters put out the house or chase the arsonist? I mean,
you don't think you don't think him getting a record amount of donations from Wall Street had anything to do with him not jailing anyone?
I think he had to fix the economy, and I think that he was in a very tough position, and he did a lot during his first term. His second term was somewhat disappointing, but I think that his second term has sort of led to the economic success that Trump is trying to take credit for now.
And lastly, sorry, I said lastly
sure,
10 times.
Sure.
What's Biden's signature policy? We know Bernie is Medicare for all. Mm-hmm. What is Biden's signature policy or message? What's his campaign about?
Return to normalcy, expanding on the Affordable Care Act, getting us back into a position in the world where we are respected and where our allies don't hate us.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.
Status quo.
Biden supporters. This for y'all, right here. Right, put your booty in it. This chair right here. This for y'all. I've talked to a lot of people that like Biden, and most of them are terribly, terribly uninformed. Terribly uninformed. And this is Jordan Chariton, of course, having a semi-debate with the guy. He's interviewing him, and he's trying his best not to be adversarial. This is why I firmly believe that Bernie has a serious chance with the army of volunteers he has. Because it's not that these people are staunch supporters of everybody. They're not. I've been out talking to these folks, even the Warren supporters I was talking to, even the Kamala Harris supporters I've talked to, Cory Booker supporters I've talked to, all these establishment Democratic candidates, and I guess you could call Warren a progressive establishment, kind of blend of the two, because she's got progressive policies. Will she do them? She's done them before. So yeah, I've talked to these folks that support these folks, and most of them are terribly uninformed, honestly. So Bernie having the army of 1 million volunteers on day one, which is going to grow bigger, I think that that's going to make the difference. I think that getting out and talking to these folks is going to make all the difference in the world. Yeah, I think that that's going to be a big change. And I know they're scared of it because just the other day, I'm not sure if I'm going to have the video for it or not. I'll try to see if I can. But just the other day, just yesterday actually, they were blocking Jordan from asking questions. They blocked him from asking questions of the supporters. He wasn't even trying to talk to Biden. He was trying to talk to the supporters. And they were blocking him from that. Now, sure, they can block Jordan. And Jordan has a big reach. 80-something, almost 90-something thousand Twitter followers. And, of course, status quo is what it is. We're growing, about to hit 50,000. Smash the like button. Thank you guys so much. Become a member. Yeah, we need your support, but the bigger influence is y'all. There are 1 million Bernie Sanders volunteers on day one of the campaign. might not have as big a platform as Jordan, but there's a million. And y'all are actually fighting for Bernie. Jordan's just being a journalist. This is why. For that reason alone, that's what makes me think, oh, nah, Bernie got a shot. They gonna cheat all they want to. And the narrative's gonna be what the narrative's gonna be, because the people that control the narrative stand to lose a lot of money if that man becomes president. So, like, as a journalist, I get why they're doing it. I completely understand it. I try and protect their money. It's selfish. It's stupid. They're killing the planet. But, like, I see the motivation behind it. And I'm sorry, like, having been somebody that came from the bottom, like, I literally there was a point, and I ain't gonna say when or where, but I've been homeless quite a few times. I have had no running water in a house before, where I pooped in a trash bag, wrapped it up, and took it out to the storm drain, to throw it down the storm drain at night because I was embarrassed and my bathroom was smelling horrible, because we just didn't have running water. So, like, having been that poor and understanding, like, living literally hand to mouth before, I understand that there's a hunger and a desire and a fight that a poor and working person has that a rich person just can't understand. Even when they're trying to protect their money, which that's a whole different fight too, but it doesn't have the intensity. It just don't. It don't have the intensity of some of these parents that's out here fighting for their kids' future. Like, it just don't. It don't. That in itself, you have a million of those people. 1 million. I'm sorry, y'all. They ain't got a snowball's chance in hell if they don't control the narrative. If they don't get out there and lie on Bernie Sanders and twist the narrative as much as they can. They really don't. Like, that's just objective reality. They have to use the tools that they have. And honestly, when the people stand up, it's going to be, it's amazing to live in this time. It honestly is. Sure, there's a lot of terrible stuff going on, but, like, I'm just glad that I get to look at all of this stuff and cover all of these things. This is literally why I became a journalist, to cover the different issues and whatnot, and to look at where we're at and the possibilities, especially when you get out there and you see these things, like, and you talk to these folks that just don't know, you realize how possible it is to make serious change. And I, for one, am excited for it. So we'll see what happens. Like, is it going to be a matter of, yeah, we're here, we showed up, we win? Like, nah, that's not how it's going to be for Bernie Sanders supporters. That's not how it's going to go. They're going to have to use every bit of fight that they have. And I think that if that's accessed, if that's leveraged, which 2016 is proof of that, made up 60 points in a matter of months. So I think that Bernie being the front runner, the only thing that could take it is, and he's not technically the front runner, but Biden's going to be gone by September, October. He'll be done. He'll be like 4th or 5th in an afterthought because he's just a terrible candidate. But Bernie will be the front runner by that point, and the only thing that could take it from him, to me, will be the super delegates at a contested convention. That's literally the only thing I see taking it from him. It's early still. I could be very wrong. Other shenanigans could be at play. But that's just looking at the scope of things. That's what I think will happen. But I don't know. But yeah, looking at just like it's. I'm trying not to discuss too much what the kid said and be too. I don't want to be too hard on him because like he's uninformed. Like that kid was genuinely just uninformed. I don't want to smash on him too hard, but like my dude, the crime bill was a good thing. Drug dealing is a violent crime. I'm in the library right now. I got half a mind to go get you all of the books on that subject. Like you need read a book. Read a book, read an academic study, read something. Turn off CNN. That's what CNN has done to folks' brains. Y'all think Fox News is bad. Look at what CNN did. Because Jordan was respectfully questioning and pushing him. And the kid was treating it like it was a debate. And then when Jordan didn't even really point out that he was racist, but like kind of got close to that, like I completely reject and disagree with that. I was just like, oh, okay. Jordan didn't even say that. Thanks for telling on yourself. But yeah, like folks are just genuinely uninformed, and I'm not gonna smash on the kid for being genuinely uninformed. Yeah, that's all I got on that subject today. But thank you guys so much. Like, share, subscribe, become a member. We appreciate you. We really, 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 really appreciate you. We cannot do this without you. I'm working on and in connection with some different folks in Arizona. I'm trying to get a trip to Arizona to cover the situation with the murderous police force out there. So we got a lot of things coming down the pike. Jordan is everywhere. I'm actually filling in today because he need to get somewhere and sit his butt down. But yeah, thank you guys so much. Become a member. We're almost at 50,000 subscribers. The GoFundMe is almost at $65,000. We are less than 1K away from 65,000. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, become a member. We appreciate you. Thank you guys so much. I will catch you all later.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statusquo.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statusquo.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.